Howdy, I'm Jordan, and I play Jerry Allman, the Human Wizard. I ran into the group while looking for my town doctor, who taught me everything I know about magic. This is my story.
So you've already been traveling a few days from your small little village, River Rock Meadow, and it's honestly been some great weather. Um, Skies have been clear, maybe a little bit of rain in the morning, at night, not much, so traveling really hasn't been impeded. It's been mainly enough to cool down the summer air at night to give you a nice, refreshing sleep. Are you one for tents and bedrolls, or just a bedroll under a tree?
Probably more of just a bedroll out. Probably spent a couple nights laying out in probably like hay, looking up at stars. Probably on my farm back then. I don't know that I've ever really gone camping, like out in the woods, as much as just outdoors is my home.
So this is really what, your first time traveling by yourself almost?
Yeah, it would be the first time I've ever gone anywhere without either my uncle or the doc with me.
So this is definitely a good experience so far. Nothing really to write home about, except that you're finally traveling alone. You've been sticking to the main roads mainly, trying to just keep on track, keep on target. Your main goal right now, as you said, was looking for Doc.
Yeah.
Now, he's trained you up quite a bit in some conversations you've had with him, and just on your excursions out with him. Though you've never traveled out this far with anybody, little excursions with Doc here and there, not very far from home, because aunt and uncle aren't really the most trusting type of Doc, considering what they know about him, what most people know about him. But being as how he is who he is, he helps your village out a lot, or he did before his disappearance. You know, just from stories around the village, from a few more merchants and travelers, that there was at one point a mages guild in a somewhat nearby small city called East Runewood. It's where a noble family backed a decent-sized guild. An archmage pretty much ran the place. They had a decent-sized library, alchemy, whole 9 yards. It was rare to find something like this out away from either the city of Ironclad, which is the unofficial capital here on the East Coast. Is just for such a small town, even anything right now near you, to have this kind of place. Would that kind of draw you in that direction?
Absolutely. That's the first place I'm heading.
So as we said, you've been traveling for a little bit now. Road's been good. Sticking to the main Emperor's Road. It's pretty much a straight shot through a few other little hamlets and small little outcrops of civilization, right to East Runewood. As you progress further, a few more days will probably go by. The temperature is getting a little hotter. Weather is still nice, not a lot of rain during the day. If anything, it's probably a little welcoming, just given the temperature and the heat. But you start to notice that the dirt road gets a little cobbly here and there. Marble, it seems to starts becoming the road, as though large sections of marble was broken down and they actually made a walkway, a road out of this. And you kind of know from, like I said, travelers and merchants, that this is pretty much the road to Runewood. This is kind of what they're known for, is a large marble quarry that they and another small town nearby kind of share the rights to. It's been a quiet road trip. You haven't really encountered many people lately, but As you're getting closer, you'll notice that there's like a small group off to the side of the road. They've got kind of a cart set up, a couple of horses out front. They're letting them rest a bit by a small stream. And they kind of look you over a little bit as you're getting closer. You can kind of see it's maybe about 3 or 4 heavier set built guys. Got, standard hunting gear with them, leathers. The one thing that kind of sets them off a little bit that you haven't really seen before is on their backs, they have a unique kind of insignia kind of embossed on it. It's a rook in the center with the crown over top and a couple of stars above it. Behind it looks like a couple of small chess pawns and a kind of a chain between them all. It's definitely a symbol that you've never seen before, but as you get closer, you can kind of see they're talking a bit to each other. If you could, what does Jerry look like? What's his appearance?
He's kind of lanky. Well, lanky isn't the right word to describe it. If you just think of like a farm boy, I guess would be the best way, with like short brown hair and blue eyes. He's probably no taller than 6 foot, if he's even 6 foot, and he kind of carries himself like a commoner. He's just got regular clothes on, just looks like any other, almost like a peasant, except that he's got a backpack and a walking stick with an orb embedded into the top of it.
Okay. As you get closer, you're going to start to pick up a few words they're saying. It's 2 guys kind of on the back of this cart. Another 2 are like tending to the horses a little bit. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
18.
Oh yeah, you can definitely hear a few conversations kind of going on between the guys in the cart. They're a bit closer than the ones out tending to the horses. You hear any word yet? Not quite. We haven't heard word for probably about 2 days now. He said this was near the meeting point. But he was going to be coming, wasn't he? He thinks he's been with the group for probably a good 3-4 months from his last bird. Good, then we're at least in the right spot. Wouldn't want this one getting away from us. And as you get a little bit closer, they're going to kind of stop talking to each other and just going to nod. Oi, traveler.
Oh, hello.
How's the road?
It's been beautiful. I can't say I've seen it. You guys are the first people I've met. How are you?
Well. And as they're talking, you kind of see the smaller one has a little bit of the higher voice, is going to be shuffling in the cart, kind of moving a few things here and there, and you're going to hear the distinct sound of chains kind of just being tossed about a little bit. Whereabouts do you come from, so that we know how far the road is good?
I'm from pretty far away. You probably never heard of it. It's River Rock Meadow. It's a beautiful village. You really should visit sometime.
We might. We've got some hunting in these woods for the next couple of nights, but after that, we might just take you up on that.
Oh, are you hunters?
Yes. You can see he's just gonna look at the gear around. Aye, well, more for the exotic kind of beasts. We've heard that there's some larger bears in the area, some, kind of to help the nearby villages take care of a few things.
Wow, that's really something. Bear can be pretty dangerous. I've read a lot about him. I could help you if you need any information.
Oh, no, I much appreciate it, but I think we have it under control. This isn't our first hunt, and won't be the last. You can see that he's got a little chuckle, and the small guy in the car is going to just go, yeah. Go ahead and roll me an insight.
That's a 7.
Yeah, everything you see, they seem like a nice, honest group of guys. It's an interesting walking stick you have there.
Oh, it's just my uncle's. He let me borrow it for my trip.
Oh, you said it was quite a ways away. Traveling for any particular reason?
Yeah, I'm looking for somebody. Maybe you've seen him. He's an older man, bald. He's a little taller than me. Anything like that? You've seen anyone like that?
Not that I've known of, no. We've been in this area for a few days now and haven't seen anyone of that description walk by.
Shame.
But if you give us a name and where you're going, perhaps we can, if we see anybody like that, we can, send a word to you. Or which town are you heading to next?
Oh, I'm headed to Runewood. He only goes by Doc, so that's the only thing he'll respond to. My name's Jerry, and I hold up my hand to shake.
And he'll shake. And you can see he's maybe about like a few inches taller than you. He's got broad shoulders. He's got like a nice bow strung over his back. He's gonna shake your hand, and it's almost a little intimidating. It's gonna be a squeeze harder than it probably should be, but he'll just shake your hand. Jeremy, and this is my companion, Silas. And Silas is just gonna start waving in the cart, and he's just gonna give him a look of like, seriously, calm down. It's gonna be okay. And he's just gonna kind of just wave off the people on the horses. Don't mind them. Basically cannon fodder. And he's just gonna kind of chuckle to himself. Well, if we see anyone that matches that description, we'll send word, and who knows, we might run into you in East Runewood. If you'd like, we're setting up camp if you need a meal or anything.
Well, actually, I am pretty hungry. I haven't had a good meal in good company for a while.
By all means, then. Boys, we've got a guest. Kind of see the guys on the horses are going to just like look over. They're still brushing, but they're going to give the horse the final kind of brush down. And you can kind of see like behind the cart, they have like a little fire set up and a couple of bedrolls kind of rolled up off to the side. As you walk around the backside of this cart, he's kind of just going to motion to you. And you will see some chains that match the noises you heard earlier. And you can see they have like a cooking pot back there and a few other kind of metallic items. Some basic hunting gear, couple of manacle sets. And they're just going to start, gathering around. Everyone's kind of coming in from their jobs. And you're going to see there's a fifth person that you didn't hear from before that Jeremy didn't introduce you to. This little scraggly guy, he's kind of just skinning a couple of rabbits.
Guess it is. We should have enough food, perhaps. Might need to get another couple of hairs from the snares, but we can make do.
Kind of see as you get a little closer, this guy looks to be a good deal older than the others. And he's got, tattoos up and down his arms. His head's bald, and he has the same insignia that's on the leathers kind of tattooed on the top of his head.
Sit down, sit down. Not often we get company outside of this merry little band.
I walk up and I extend my hand. Hi, I'm Jerry. It's nice to meet you. What's your name?
Arthur is the name. It's a pleasure, Jerry. Join us, will you?
And he's gonna kind of stop skinning the rabbits, look over at the small guy in the cart.
Oi, bring some of the ale around. I think it's time we all start closing in for the night.
He's just kind of nod.
Yeah.
And they're kind of just gonna hand you like a little cup of ale, and you're gonna start to smell the rabbits and the stew that Arthur is kind of setting to the side.
Couldn't help but hear some of the conversation, but come from River Rock. That is a ways away.
Yeah, have you been there before?
It's probably been a decade almost. Not often one for, the small towns. I like the excitement.
Yeah, I understand that. It can get pretty boring around there.
Farmer family, I take it?
Yeah, my aunt and uncle had a farm, and I worked it for a while. But then I became the doctor's apprentice, and I've been working with him ever since then.
Ah, healer. Thankfully, we have nothing we need you to look over currently.
They're gonna let a few minutes of silence kind of pass by. They're gonna stir the soup a little bit, kind of pass out a few bowls. The ale they gave you, are you a drinking man or more just water?
I probably haven't drank a lot. It's not really something I've ever pursued, but it's something that you do as like a rite of man, like manhood. So I've probably tried it and thought it was terrible. Like beer and ale, I don't. It's just not that great. It tastes like bad water. But I'll do it to keep up, like to save face and look good.
Gotta keep up appearances for just appearance's sake. Okay.
I want to look like I'm a man because I haven't proven it yet.
Okay.
This is my first time leaving town, and that's what I'm viewing it as a opportunity.
So this is going to be the most piss poor ale you've ever tasted. It's basically they took the wort from making the ale, and yeah, it's just not. It's too sweet, too many hops. It's got a bitter taste at the end. It's a weird combination. But at the end of the day, it's almost Budweiser. But you're choke it down a little bit. I'm assuming you also have a water skin on you.
Yeah, and I'm
Okay, so you can.
washing it down.
Yeah, they're kind of gonna eat in silence. They're not much the talking kind of folk. And then after a few moments, you're gonna hear Arthur's gonna pipe back up again.
Everything ready for the hunt?
Jeremy's kind of just gonna.
Yeah. Everything's accounted for. We're just waiting for our ears and eyes to return.
He's kind of just gonna look at you like,
We've got a scout in the woods kind of doing the dirty work for us.
Oh, there are bears this out here? I didn't think there were any like really big animals around this area.
roll me a perception check.
12.
You can kind of see there's a small little smirk on Arthur's face as you mentioned the bears. And that's kind of really all it is. Jeremy's going to continue speaking and
Well, that's the thing. They're not used to bears being in this area, so we've been hired by a few individuals to take down and capture the bears, keep the city and the towns in the area safe.
That's real. That's real kind of you to do for them. You sure you don't need any help though?
Oh no, thank you though. We've done this many a times, but do you have much skill in fighting?
Yeah, I can hold my own in a fight. I don't know about hunting. I'm not much of a shot, but I can definitely go mano a mano.
he's going to look you up and down. Kind of a slight smile, and Arthur's going to speak again.
We thank you for it's very thoughtful of you, though I think we had this very well underhand. As my companion said, we've been doing this for quite a while now. Earned our stripes, as some would say, and kind of just tap his hand's going to rhythmically just go to the stars and just start tapping them slightly.
What is that symbol there? Is that some hunter's guild or I've never seen it before. It looks familiar. I'm not sure where though.
It's an older sign, more from the west, per se. Not often seen in this side of the continent.
I see.
And he's kind of just going to leave it at that and kind of notice that he's tapping himself and just kind of put his hands back on his lap and continue eating his stew. It's getting a little late into the evening. You can see that some of the other guys are just going to start yawning, throwing back a couple more ales. And the little squirrely one from the back of the cart earlier is going to, kind of nudge you in the side.
Oi, you play cards?
Yeah. No, I've never played cards. I'm not a gambling man.
Not a gambling man? But you're going to try it for this one?
I'm gonna try to keep up these appearances because that's what men play cards, right? They drink around the campfire and they play cards and they gamble. I think I've read that.
Oh, yeah. So they're going to get out a deck of cards. You can see he's going to shuffle a little bit. And he's going to start dealing out pretty much the four of you. The other two are going to kind of see they're going to start to come over and like join, but Arthur's going to shoot them a look like, Don't think about it. And they're just gonna go back and start cleaning things up, laying out bedrolls. Kind of see they might be like a little bit of the hired hands.
Mm-hmm.
But after a little bit, Jeremy is gonna pour a few more ales and kind of look at your cup. Just even if there's a little bit, he can't tell if it's water or ale. He's gonna just refill it till it's at the brim. So it could either be really good or even worse.
Thank you for that.
They're going to deal out these cards, and they're not going to say a word about how to play. And you're going to see that they're going to bring out a couple of copper pieces and just like little mounds in front of them. But they're going to have like a couple of cards in their hands, and you're going to have a couple in front of you. What would you do?
I would try to figure it out based on like what the person before me is doing. Whatever he's doing, I'm going to match until I figure out like any rhyme or reason to what they're doing.
So you can kind of see that like the first guy, you can see that Jeremy's going to put in like 2 copper pieces. Arthur's going to follow with 2. The little squirmy guy is going to follow. He's going to put 3 in this time. And then it's going to get to you.
Well, he went 2 and 2. He went 3, so I'm going to put in 3 because it's going in doubles. So 3.
Get back to Jeremy. He's just going to take his hand, look at you, kind of put his cards in front of his face and just, Arthur's going to chuckle.
Not always the best poker face there, Jeremy.
He's just kind of shuffle and just throw the cards on the ground. And Arthur's going to go ahead and deal out a third card. So you guys now got 3 cards in front of you. This is going to continue a little bit. I'd say probably another round until it's kind of, you have no idea what the hell you're doing. You just keep, if someone's going to put down whatever, you're pretty much just matching the bet of the person before you, right?
I'm always calling, basically.
Go ahead and for shits and giggles, roll me a sleight of hand check.
7.
Finally, Arthur's going to be like, okay, you got 5 cards each. He's going to lay his down, and it's a nice spread. It's 2 10s, 3 kings. You put yours down, it's a 2, a 3. You got an ace, which was damn good. A 4 and a 7. He's going to look your cards, his cards, back and forth again. Kind of look right at you.
You've got a hell of a poker face. You're lost, but you got a hell of a poker face.
Well, I've always been told that having a good poker face is, how you do it. So, yeah. And I'm just totally just trying to keep up this idea that I knew kind of what I was doing.
So this is going to continue for a little bit, and it's, I'd say after about maybe the 4th or 5th hand, you kind of figured out what's going on. You probably burned through a little bit of the, maybe like a 12 or 15 copper pieces you have on you. It's kind of now belongs to Arthur or Jeremy. You got maybe 1 or 2 wins in there, but go ahead and for this last hand, roll me another sleight of hand.
14.
When it's down to 3 of you now. You, Arthur, and Jeremy. The 3 of you are just like, okay, everyone just kept calling until everyone stopped calling. All showed your cards. It came close. Arthur's kind of just tossed this aside. He's just going to stand up and walk off. You hear, cursing under his breath. Son of a bitch. They're just going to hear liquid hitting leaves as he's just off taking a piss. And Jeremy's just going to smile as he looks at your hand, kind of looking over. Fish is going to drop slightly and just toss his hand to the ground. And you're going to take in a nice, probably 2 silver and a couple of coppers.
Well, I really enjoyed that. I'm glad I got to play with you guys.
After about a minute or so, Arthur's going to come back.
Hell of a poker face. You had me going there for a while. I didn't really think you had the grasp of the game.
Oh, yeah, it's just, that's a trick I learned, from playing back home.
He's going to look around.
It's rather late now, I think. we'll be turning in. You're more than welcome to, set up camp nearby if you prefer. We'll probably be here the next few days.
Yeah, I think I set up camp around here tonight. I gotta get going in the morning. I've probably been staying here too long already.
About an hour is going to pass, and you're going to see that as you're settling down, the other two that were dismissed from the game, had to set up everything, they're pretty much taking turns. Like, one's just going to go to sleep, the other one's going to start just walking around the perimeter of the camp. And you're going to hear some rustling, quick running footsteps.
I found you guys. About damn time.
And this is a completely new voice to you.
I'm damn sure it's him. When you strike, I'd say first light. He's driven the early straw. He'll be one of the only ones up then. Should be clean pickings.
You're going to hear a few more rustling and kind of bodies moving footsteps. And the voice of Arthur is going to, you're kind of going to hear him over the crackling of the fire.
You sure it's him? Good. Good, we can end this. If not him, then at least someone damn similar. If not, we'll get the bounty either way. We can make it look like him. I'm pretty sure it is him. Good. Get what we need. We go in. Who's the bloke? Don't mind him now. Leave him be, we can get out of here. We'll leave all the cart and the horses. One of them. We'll be back in morning with the goods.
As you're hearing this, what is the first thing running through your mind?
Probably the first thing is, who's this person they're after? And then when I hear bounty, it all starts to click, I think, that they were lying. They're not after bears. Those manacles are too small. The way that they're talking now about looking for someone, making it look like somebody, they're bounty hunters, not hunting bears. And I think I have to do something about it. I think I have to try to stop them, but I'm not sure how yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to stay with them and try to... If I notice them leave, I'm going to try to follow them.
Okay. I would say they spend a good little bit, from what you gathered, from what their conversation was overheard, that they have a couple of hours before whoever it is they're going after is awake. Arthur's going to go back to bed. Jeremy and the others are going to start, getting a few of the gear pieces together, setting up sacks and packs and kind of putting them near their bedrolls. And they're going to go down. The guy that came in, you don't know his name. He wasn't with the party originally. You're going to see he's just going to go back out into the woods a good deal. And a few hours are going to pass. Would Jerry get some sleep, or would you be too alert and awake?
I think he'd be too alert. I'm on edge now. These aren't good people anymore. They're not simple farmers or simple hunters trying to make their way. They're bad folk.
So it's going to get, a few more hours are going to pass. The two scrawny guys are going to continue swapping places for watch. You notice neither Arthur nor Jeremy, none of the others, kind of like, as you can tell, the veterans per se, aren't taking any of the watches. So these two guys will probably be pretty damn tired once morning comes. But then you're gonna hear some more rustling. A couple of bedrolls are gonna start creaking, and they're gonna hear them rolling things up. Packs going on shoulders, swords being picked up and whatnot.
All right, boys. Is everyone ready? Oi. Let's do this. Yeah, I'm ready. Which one we taking?
And Arthur's gonna look over and just
Grab the one that's awake. Rather take him than the groggy one. Let's go quiet. Leave our new friend to sleep. With any luck, he'll be gone before we get back in the morning.
You don't want to
No, no. Good kid.
It's going to be a little bit of silence after that, and then just rustling again as they're stepping through leaves, branches, some thickets. What would Jerry do?
Once the sound kind of like goes away, he's gonna try to get his stuff together, and then try to follow them without being seen.
Okay, go ahead while you're packing things up. You do notice that there is still one guy left. He's still sleeping right now. He's kind of out of good couple of maybe 10, 15 feet away from you. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
16.
Fantastic. You managed to roll up your bedroll, get your gear, make sure you have your water skin on you after the horrible ale you had the night before. And you're just going to start taking off kind of in the general direction you remember them going. You said this was kind of the first time Jerry's been... Well, you said Jerry's never been camping before, has he?
Not really, no.
Did Doc kind of teach him anything about woodsmanship?
No, Doc definitely wouldn't have. His uncle may have tried, but Jerry was probably too involved with like books and things. The only time Jerry actually ever went out into the woods, he was attacked by kobolds, so he doesn't have a lot of experience out there.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a survival check with disadvantage. It's dark out still. You're trying to keep quiet, not wake up the other guy, and trying to find a path you're not quite sure exists.
14.
Damn. You're pretty positive they went this way. You can kind of hear the brook in the background a bit. You're walking along, you can kind of see where grass is pressed down. There's someone walked through here recently. About an hour is going to pass, maybe an hour and a half. You haven't heard any voices. The path is still the same. It's still matted down in some areas. But the further and further you get into this forest, the darker it's going to become. Go ahead and roll me another survival check. Just regular survival.
14 again. This is happening.
After another hour or so, you're going to start to hear kind of birds chirping around. Things are starting to wake up a little bit. And you're going to hear the telltale signs of combat. People shouting, yelling, screaming. An old woman, from what you can tell, is still a little far away, but you just hear a scream and then cut short. Steel on steel, you hear the distinct sound of a bow being fired off into the distance. It seems like you have stumbled across maybe what you're looking for, or who knows what it could be.
At this point, Jerry is alert and ready to go because even if it's not what I'm looking for, there might be people that need help. And so he's going to spring into action like battle ready to jump in or do whatever he needs to do. He's like dropping all stealth and
Booking it whole hog.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking off down the path, running, going over roots, through tree branches, getting some leaves in your face, a spider web here or there. And then it hits you, that iron. Iron's in the air, the smell of blood. It's something that you've smelled many times before. It's everywhere. You come to a decent-sized clearing. You can kind of see there a little path here and there. It looks to be like a caravan, a small one, but still a caravan. Maybe about a dozen or so bodies lie on the ground. You notice a few of them look a little familiar. You see the leather jerkins, the insignia stamped on them. Jeremy, the little one, everyone but Arthur. Look around, there's a few survivors from the caravan. Not many. Everyone's trying to get together. They're looking just, and one or two of them spot you, and they're going to draw their bows and just point them at you. Who are you?
I put my hands up. A friend. I can help. I'm a doctor. Show me you're wounded.
You're going to see this guy is going to hesitate just slightly, but put his bow down. You put your hands down and you walk over to him. See, he's got a few gashes on him, nothing too horrible. And you look past them, you definitely see an elderly couple, kind of just someone is putting a blanket over them. A few others are already checking their wounded, seeing who's there. One or two of them are going to have, gashes. It looks like it's a short sword, some kind of bladed weapon, whether it's up on their arm. One's going to have an arrow sticking out from his forearm. So go ahead and roll me a medicine check.
It's a 9.
You wasted all those rolls getting through that damn forest. So you look these guys over. You manage to, tend. You've got a few supplies on you. They have a few supplies just for tending, wrapping bandages. The guy with the arrow through his arm, the moment you get to there, like, this is one I have not done before. Kind of just looking like, what would you do?
We're going to have to break it off. Break it off and pull it through. Get him needs something to bite down on. And then I would have some people help me hold him down, and we're going to break the arrow and pull it out. It's not going to feel good.
This guy's just going to wince a little bit as you say that, and he's going to sit down and just going to take, looks like it's a sheath or a dagger, and kind of just put it in his mouth. This guy looks a bit younger than you are. He's got no facial hair, and you can see kind of no stubble either. And from the looks of this caravan, they've been traveling for a while, so this might just be like a teenager, a kid, basically. And he's just going to wince a little bit, and this guard that had the bow drawn on you earlier, he's kind of just going to hold him still. Do it. Roll me a medicine check.
21.
So, Doc described this to you. So you've never seen this, but you had the right idea. You kind of hold his forearm, and you just snap the end of it and just pull it through. And you can hear this guy is screaming. He's trying to thrash against his friend, and he's just holding him there as you just break the shaft and then just quickly pull it through. And tears are running down this kid's face. You manage to get some ointment on it, wrap it in a tight bandage, and he's just gonna grab it. Thank you.
Get some rest. You're going to need it. And I want to find the guard that's holding him is the one that I met at first. I'm going to turn to him and ask him, where are the people that did this? Where'd they go?
You're basically looking at them. There was a guy in our caravan. He's been traveling with us for a couple of weeks now, maybe a month. He took 2 of them down just over there. The other one's over here. Me and... He's kind of just going to point to the one on the ground. We took care of the ones over here. One guy got away. We're not quite sure where he ran off to. Maybe after... What was his name again? Damien, I think you said. Never saw someone move so fast. He took them down like they were nothing. Where did you come from?
I was traveling, and I'm sorry. This is my fault, I think. I was traveling down the road, and I met a group of people, and they said they were hunters, but I think they were bounty hunters, and I think they were after somebody in your caravan. I could have stopped them. I didn't know.
He's gonna look around.
I don't think you could have stopped them by yourself. Hell, we could barely stop them. Come around here. Get the blood off you.
Now that you've kind of slowed down a little bit, taking yourself in, you kind of feel a few like warmth on your face. Kind of put your hand up there, and you can see some of the branches cut you as you were running through. He's just gonna toss you a rag so you can kind of tend to yourself a little bit.
Thank you.
You good with a shovel?
We can find out.
Take a break for a bit. We're gonna get those that weren't so fortunate together. And yeah.
He's just gonna wander off and start kind of almost taking toll, counting. You're gonna see him just fingers out in front of him, going up the numbers, and one finger up, and he'll take another look around and he'll put it back down. About 10, 15 minutes. He's going to come back and just toss you a shovel. You said this was your fault. We don't blame you at all, but maybe this can ease your soul a little bit.
I nod. And then I'm going to do literally anything that they ask me to help them, because I feel completely responsible for this.
A few minutes are going to turn to hours. And going to dig about 7 graves. The guy that you pulled the arrow shaft through, he's going to have his hand over his forearm, just kind of overseeing a few things. He can't really do much of anything. He can't work the shovel. He can't help lift the bodies in. So you and the other guard are pretty much going to be taking these bodies and lowering them.
And for the guy who's holding his arm, when he's standing there as we're taking the bodies, I'm asking him their names, the names of the people that died, and then I'm like trying to remember them.
And he'll just start going off about a Penelope, a Bernard, and a few others. And he's kind of sees his voice is going to get a little tight. This was the only incident we had. Damien kept to himself so much. I wonder why they were after him.
Who's this Damien fella?
He kept to himself mainly. Cloak always over his head. I don't think I ever saw his eyes, let alone his face. He would help out, of course, take guard duty at night, chip in for food and water where he could, stayed to the back of the camp, even made his bedroll away from everyone else. Last night was the first time he actually talked to others.
He's kind of going to look at the old couple that they had already set aside.
That's about all I know.
About another hour is going to pass as you guys are putting the dirt back over the bodies. Kind of plot them down, and then who's left is going to kind of take stock of what they have. 1 or 2 of the horses got injured, and you're going to see the guy who had the bow to you earlier, who you've been helping dig. He's going to stand over a few bodies you know quite well. He's going to spit on them.
They wear that in broad daylight.
He's just going to shake his head and then just turn back and start loading up some of the carts with some of the goods and what they have left. Those that are injured that you kind of helped tend to, they got in the cart as well. And now with the few that are left, it's a little easier. They can all pretty much ride from here on out. A few of the carts they might leave behind, but strip of what's useful. Those that are healthier are still going to walk. They might have 1 or 2 extra packs on them for a little while, so that the horses can get a good start before they load up as they walk.
I want to pull somebody aside or get their attention and ask them, where are y'all going? Where are y'all headed to?
We're heading to Ironclad, but we might make a slight detour now. That's probably still our destination.
Is Runewood on the way to Ironclad?
He's going to stop for a minute, kind of pondering look.
No, I'm still new to this area. It's, I believe, a little south of Runewood. I think there was another road that led a little further north, nearby possibly.
It's gonna click in your head. The road you were on is not that far away from this current camp, but they seem to be going in a more southeast kind of way.
Okay, gotcha. Well, I wish y'all the best of luck, and I'm sorry about what's happened here. I'll be on my way. And I'll start heading towards Runewood like I was before. And on the way there, I want to write down all the names of those people that died. And I want to draw the insignia that I've seen on all of their outfits, and just write the name Arthur.
We're very happy to announce our newest sponsor, Wormwood. Yes, you heard me right. That Wormwood. Their fantastic gaming accessories are without a doubt the best out there in the market, and we are very pleased to thank them for their continued support. And with their support, we can help you, our listener. At checkout, please use code DO or DICE for free domestic shipping. That's right. On their website, when you check out, go ahead and put in DO or DICE. That is one word for free domestic shipping. Thank you, and please give them a thanks for helping us out. I like dice. You like dice. You would not be listening to this podcast if dice were not somewhat involved in your life. One fantastic place to go to get dice is Dice Bard. They are one of our sponsors, and we cannot thank them enough for their support. Please use code DO or DICE at checkout for free expedited shipping on any of your orders. That is DO or DICE, one word, at checkout. And with that, you can get free expedited shipping. Thank you, and make sure to thank them. Kind of see as you get back to the camp, there's the one guy still left. He's got the horses attached to the cart they have. You can kind of see the chains and manacles just laid out in a line. Kind of see he's got a few, not quite sure what it is, little vials on a small pouch almost, kind of sitting on the side of the cart. As you approach, he's just going to start nodding and turn, and he'll see you. You're not Arthur.
No, I'm not. Do you know where he is?
No, I thought he'd be back by now. You went hunting?
Yeah,
He's going to have a smile on his face.
Yeah, actually, I did go on a bit of a hunting trip. And I don't think I'm done yet. Where did you meet Arthur?
Gonna go think for a second.
We met far west, kind of on the edge of the Southern Kingdom.
Does he have the insignia that they all had, or is he not wearing one?
This one, no, he's got but he has similar weapons to the ones you kind of saw in the camp, but he doesn't bear that insignia.
I'm gonna ask him, so are y'all friends, or y'all in the same group?
You could say that. We have a similar employer.
See, that's a shame, because that makes me think that the blood of those people's on your hands too, and I'm going to attack him.
Go ahead, if you be ever so kind, and roll me initiative.
12.
Very nice. So you definitely, you're going to get a shot off anyways from not quite a sneak attack, but you're acting first, so this kind of works out well. Go ahead.
The first thing I'm going to do is cast Maximilian's Earthen Grasp. He has to make a strength DC of 13.
Yeah, no, he's going to fail that one completely. Go ahead and describe what happened.
A hand from the soil comes up and grabs him and starts to squeeze him.
So he definitely completely caught off guard. He's like, What the hell? What are you doing?
He takes 8 damage.
You can kind of see he's going to fumble kind of around. His foot's completely caught. He doesn't really have his weapons on him. It wasn't something that was probably in his mind. His crossbow is just out of reach. He's going to try and just lean for it. He manages to just get his finger around the strap and pull it towards him and just point it kind of in your general direction. But go ahead, and it's back to you.
As an action, so I have the hand that's grappling him just crush him more as I see him grabbing that.
So you can kind of hear the rocks on rocks as you keep squeezing, and yeah, he's going to fail that one as well.
Takes 5 damage.
As this rock hand is basically squeezing around his leg. You're going to hear a sound you know a little all too well as you hear the bone in his leg just snap. He's going to scream as this throbbing takes over his body, point his crossbow at you, and just pull the trigger. Now, he's in a good deal of pain, so he's going to be rolling with disadvantage. And still, yeah, that is just going to hit you. You're close enough that almost broadside of a barn, but not too much. And there's going to be 9 damage.
I probably wince in pain a little bit, but I'm driven by vengeance to what this man has done to that caravan, what he's indirectly done to that caravan. And I'm going to make that fist just squeeze a little more tighter. And I'm going to say to him, you deserved all of this. You've caused much more pain to those people.
The look he's giving you is just like, what are you talking about? And you can kind of see he's got one hand on the crossbow, one hand kind of on his leg. And he's going to go and just, as you're talking, he's putting another bolt in there haphazardly. Go ahead and roll your damage.
7.
He's going to bring this crossbow up and just like point it level right at you. You can kind of see that the bolt itself is a little off. You bring your hand in front of you and just start squeezing it into a fist. And you're just going to see this hand squeezing more and more around his leg. Bones are already broken, but you still hear more and more snapping. And blood is going to start streaming down his leg, as you can only guess that pieces of bone might be piercing the skin. And this hand of rock is just going to start turning red. This guy's going to take a deep breath, gasp, and just from the sheer pain, pass out. Just fall over to the side. And you've got that crossbow bolt kind of in like your left shoulder. And it's a good deal in. It was a little haphazard shot, so thankfully he missed everything vital. But it still went in a good deal. I'd say it's not a through and through shot.
He's passed out now.
Yeah.
I'm going to release the hand and kind of calm myself down.
The moment you let this spell go, you're just going to see that his leg is a mangled mess. Pieces of bone sticking out through the skin. It looks like an empty candy wrapper almost. Just skin, mangled, blood, just all over his calf, down his leg. Muscle, you can kind of see tendon just there, completely visible.
I'm a doctor, but that's probably some pretty messed up stuff. I don't know if I've ever seen anything that bad. So Jerry's probably like trying to keep it together. Oh, that's gross. And then at the same time, tears are starting to well up in his eyes just from the catharsis of getting a little bit of that venting anger out on the people that have caused so much trouble.
Go ahead and roll me a con saving throw.
14.
You're going to cough a little bit as you're trying to hold back yourself from pretty much just vomiting. And it's going to come up a little bit. You're just going to keep it down, grab your water skin, and just take a chug, a deep chug, trying to keep everything down. You're just going to look around. What would Jerry do now?
I think he would leave.
Would you pretty much leave things as they are and just kind of go off, or would you search through anything?
Nah, I think he's just gonna... I think the sight of that has snapped him out of his like anger and vengeance-filled like will to fight, and he's ready to just get out of here and compose himself. So I think he's gonna like run, heading towards town to Runewood. It's the only town that he knows is nearby.
So you just take off. You're booking it down this cobbled path. You probably run for a good hour straight. I mean, you're used to working on a farm for a while, and then with Doc, you're used to movement. You're used to getting here and there. So it takes a while before it starts taking its toll on you. You're lanky for a reason. After a bit, you're gonna start trying to catch your breath. It's about probably early midday. and you kind of know you're still a good ways away from the town. Would you stop and take a breath, or just keep walking?
Probably just gonna keep walking and get to town. I think there are three things on Jerry's mind right now. I'm still looking for Doc, but that can wait. I need to find Damien, and I need to kill Arthur.
You kind of have an idea about how far Runewood is. It's by road, which is thankfully you're on. You can kind of see the telltale signs that you're kind of on the edge of what is the territory that Runewood claims. You're probably maybe about 3-4 days away by road. It's a quick road. You run into a few other people here and there, maybe a few guards, just like patrolling the road itself, some farmers, merchants. No one's really coming up behind you except maybe actual hunters that, walk the forest trails and come on and off the road here or there. Come up behind you, kind of walk past, just kind of wave at you, and then continue up a little bit and then off onto another trail going off the main road. But after about 3 days, 4, you finally start to see smoke on the horizon. Just from chimneys, fireplaces, campfires, just as the noise kind of hits you. East Runewood is about a small city. It's got farmers and, the lower class kind of outside of the city in little hovels, kind of. They're thatched roofs, some decent foundations, some decent sturdy walls here and there from the quarry. Kind of just offcuts that they just leave and people, move around. Is kind of where the quarry workers live sometimes. Hunters, gatherers, things of that nature. Some mud chimneys you see, some are built with offcuts, smaller ones from the marble. And then you see the wall, and it's about maybe a good story and a half tall, about 10-12 feet of just like timbers around. And at the very center you see this tall, massive keep. And as the sun kind of hits it just right, depending on what time of day it is, you'll see all these carvings on the side of it, some runes or writing of some type. You have finally made it to East Runewood. Where would be the first place you try to go? An inn, just head straight for the Mages Guild, see what you can find?
Normally, if it had been any other day yesterday, he would have gone straight to the Mages Guild. But I figure he's exhausted, emotionally and probably physically too. And he's going to try to find the inn. And the Mages Guild will still be there tomorrow. So
Okay. Now, there's a few inns in town. You can kind of see as you're walking around, there's some one or two shadier ones and one or two nicer. Near the center of town, not far from it, is one called the Blunted Tip. It's, if you ask a guard or a merchant nearby, what inn would you recommend? This is the one they would go to. And it's like, oh, the Blunted Tip, yes, go there. They treat you very nicely. So depends how much money would you be willing to spend. Would you get a decent room or try and keep it on the lower end?
I don't think it would bother Jerry too much to spend a little bit of money to stay somewhere nice. It's been a while.
You've been on the road for a couple of, maybe about 2 weeks now, give or take.
And the people of town will know best. So I would go with their recommendation.
So as you're walking down the street, you can kind of see these buildings kind of spread out, and as you're walking around one, this almost burned down building catches your eye. It's the first thing you see on this street, and it looks like almost just like a shell of a building. A good 3/4 of it is burnt from a corner down. It looks as though a fire started higher up on the building. And as you kind of take this corner and this thing just fills your mind, you kind of see around it, there's a couple of guards. They don't really look like the other guards you've seen around town, the ones you've talked to asking where the inn is. These guys have long, gray cloaks. Nice long weapons. One or two has a great sword. One's got a crossbow strapped to his back. They're talking, conversing, and it looks as though they're trading shifts or trading positions around this building. But directly across from it, you'll see this nice sign kind of blowing in the breeze coming down the street. The blunted tip is a little picture, little cutout of a spear with, the end kind of crumpled and blunted and not sharp. As you enter in, the first thing that kind of hits you is a smell of fresh baked bread, and you have not smelled that in a long while.
That is delicious.
As you walk in here, that hits you. You see a couple of people kind of seated inside the inn. Behind the bar, there's a guy just cleaning glasses. He's kind of on the bigger side, slicked back, dark black hair.
Oi! Welcome to the Blunted Tip. Looking for a room?
Yeah, actually, I'm looking for a room and maybe a meal. That smells delicious. I'd love a room and a meal. Yes, please, sir.
We can definitely do that for you.
He's gonna nod to you, kind of go behind the bar, a little ways down, exit, and kind of go out of sight for a second. After about a minute or so, he's gonna come back around, and you're just gonna see this decent-sized loaf of bread, and it still has steam coming off of it. Beside it is just a nice chunk of meat.
Eat this, and then we'll get you set up in a room. I'm William.
It's very nice to meet you, William. I put my hand out. I'm Jerry Allman.
And he'll reach out, and because he's got this like big bear paw, I'm just gonna grab you in. It's a nice firm handshake.
Where you from, Jerry?
Oh, I'm from River Rock Meadows. It's a ways off. I don't know if you heard of it.
I have. I've gotten a farmer by any chance?
Yeah, actually. I used to be a farmer. My uncle and aunt, they had a farm, but I'm more of I was the doctor's assistant. Have you seen anybody from around there?
No. I mention it mainly because it's where my wife grew up from.
Oh, really? Huh. What's her name?
Natalie. She's off baking bread in the back.
Do I know any? Does that ring any bells of anybody?
No, if anything, this would have been back when you were a child. William and his wife they look to be a good deal, or at least William, that you can tell, looks a good deal older than you are.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead and roll me a history check and see if maybe family knew.
That's a 5.
No, Natalie doesn't quite ring a bell.
Yeah, I'd say she left there maybe 15 years ago now. Sounds about right. Came here, met her, and
He's going to wave his hands out.
paradise.
He's going to chuckle and just go back to wiping the bar.
Well, I'm real happy for you. I'm glad that all worked out for you. I wonder if she knows my aunt or uncle. That could be interesting. I'm sure I'll see you guys around sometime. I'm beat.
Feel free to take the food. I can show you to a room. We'll keep you downstairs. It's like you're about to drop dead here.
He's going to take you, and he'll actually grab the plate of food for you and take you down a hallway, maybe about 1 or 2 doors in. You're still relatively close to the front of the inn. And he's just going to open the door and kind of show you in. It's a decent sized room. There's one single bed in there. Dresser, a nice sized desk, and a window that you can kind of see, if you look just right, you can see out onto the main street.
If you need anything, let me know. The meal and the room will end up to be about a gold piece for the day. We'll also bring you dinner this evening. Full room and board, a gold a day.
All right. Well, here you go, and I hand him a gold piece.
He's just gonna nod and take the plate and lay it on the desk.
Get some rest. If I don't see you, I'll knock you into around dinner.
All right. Thank you very much again, sir.
If you need to clean up, we have a trough in the back where we keep the horses.
Oh, well, thank you. I might take you up on that. I'm pretty filthy.
And he'll kind of he'll chuckle and shut the door behind him.
And then Jerry's probably going to eat his meal and just think about the last couple of days before he passes out on his bed.
So you're gonna hear some movement, noise. It's a blessing and a curse to be near the front of the inn because you can kind of hear the ruckus. The walls are thick in this area, solid timber. You can definitely hear kind of when dinner pipes up, and you'll hear a small little knock at your door.
Hello? Who is it?
Oh, it's William. Jerry?
Oh, sorry. And I go and open the door. And
No worries. We're on dinner service now. If you're hungry or if you want to sleep, I can set you something aside for later.
no, I think I've slept enough. I want to like go out and have dinner out in the main part of the tavern.
Now there's a good mix of people out here. You can see at a round table near the front of the inn. There's looks to be like they're clerics. So very nice white robes, red stalls around one of them kind of marks him as a higher kind of noble. On the other side of the bar, you got nice little tables, maybe a booth here or there, kind of off the side out of the way. Maybe one or two guards are going to be there. Everyone else seems pretty ordinary, nothing really sticking out. You can just smell more and more bread. It seems like that's kind of what this place is known for. You can see a few stews about. William is again behind the bar, getting a couple of drinks ready. You can see a plump, older woman kind of rustling about, grabbing some drinks, putting them on tables. Might click that this might be his wife.
Right.
After a second, he's going to flag her down and have a plate kind of prepared and just motion behind him. And she's going to take it back down the hall where you came out of. And after about a minute or so, she's going to come back up. Would you like to sit at the bar or sit at one of the tables?
I think I'd sit at the bar so that I could talk to William a little bit.
You see there's a couple of people up there that you managed to find a nice stool to sit at. He's just going to put in front of you a bit smaller piece of bread, definitely a thing of stew, and there's a nice chunk of meat sticking out of it. And besides, like a nice little glass of water.
Ale's about 4 coppers if you're interested.
Actually, no. I think I'm good on ale.
He's gonna have a slight smile.
Good on ya.
Tell me, I saw the building across the road. It's burned to the ground. What's that all about?
He's gonna sigh a little bit. That's about a few months back now. That was where the Mages Guild was. You know how people are sometimes, kind of hold on to prejudices, anger. Small group of ruffians came around and started a fire. Scared out the mages, and a good bit of it was starting to go to the ground. We were all worried it was going to spread before Travell came and put the fire out. But that was where the mages stayed.
Are there any left around here?
There might be 1 or 2 that work for Travell Alwyn. He is the mage in town, basically. Serves Lord Scarn. And that's about the only mages we see here anymore.
You can see he looks a little disturbed by that. It's not sitting well with him.
You wouldn't happen to know where I could find anybody that went to that guild, do you? And I'm like starting to speak in a hushed tone.
He's gonna give you a look and just look at you, and you can kind of see that the gears in his head are starting to move a little bit.
Oi, there's Travell. He was the guildmaster of the hall. He's still around. He serves Lord Scarn. He's one of the triad. He kind of runs the town to some degree.
What's he like?
A gentle fellow. He keeps to himself mainly. Only really hear him speak in the morning at the gatherings they have. More so lately now with the attacks and disappearances.
There's some trouble going on around here?
A few days, about a week or so ago, we had rumors that West Spring, just on the other side of the forest, no one can get in contact with them. No one knows where they are. And to add trouble to the fire, some kobolds have made our quarry their new home.
That's no good. Kobolds are trouble.
He's just gonna nod like, yeah.
Yeah, I've dealt with them before. It's not a fun experience.
I never did ask you what brings you here.
He's gonna have a slight smile at the end of that sentence.
Well, I'm looking for somebody. He was my town doctor, and I was his assistant. He's gone missing, and I thought this would be the place to maybe pick up his trail.
Well, if you're looking for someone in particular, Travell might not be a bad place to start, though getting an audience with them is a little harder than it is. If you want, I can see if I know anybody who can get you a little closer.
Wow, you do that for me? I'd really appreciate that.
Out of the kindness of my heart, but maybe you could do something for me in the next few days.
Absolutely. I'm sure I could help you out around here if that's what you need. And I've done some cooking and cleaning, so I'm no stranger to that.
Maybe not that, but I'll keep that in mind. I'll tell you a little more when the time comes, but let me get in touch with a friend of mine and see if I can get you in contact with Travell.
Well, all right then.
It might take a couple of days, but I'll see what I can do.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
It's 14.
It's, dinner time. It's definitely a little later in the evening. Some people are coming in. You're at the bar eating. It's a very nice meal. You're gonna see a couple of the gray cloaked guards come in. They're gonna go off and sit at a table off at the far side. You're gonna see they're kind of just joking with each other, chuckling a little bit, having a drink here or there. And the clerics behind you can see they're gonna perk up a little bit after these guards enter. But after a while, would Jerry kind of stay in the front of the tavern or head back to his room?
I think after taking a nap, he's okay rest wise, and he'd be more interested in kind of getting a feel for like the town and seeing what bigger city life's a little bit about.
Okay, so William's gonna take your plate away and kind of take it off to the side. You can see he's kind of cleaning up the bar a little bit as a few others come in for the dinner service. And as you turn around, you're gonna see the door's gonna open again. A few more people are gonna stream in. One of them is going to kind of catch your eye a little bit because you have never seen a halfling before. And this a little guy kind of comes up to maybe about your waist a bit. He's going to come in, look around, see the gray cloaked guards and just, hurry on over to them and just sit down. And they're going to strike up a conversation. You're going to see the clerics on the other side are going to kind of lean back and look with a good deal of interest and then go back to, talking amongst themselves. But as you leave this inn, you're going to feel like a nice breeze coming in from outside. It's a little bit of a cooler evening. And while some of the people here are against magic, you're going to notice that the streets are lit by glowing crystals. Every so often you'll see this post sticking up out of the ground. And at the top of it is just this decent size. I say about the size of a head, maybe like a head of cabbage, something you're used to. It's just sitting up on top and it's just glowing red. You'll see walking up and down this gentleman, long robes, kind of a long white beard. He's going to be just like pointing every so often, and these lights are just going to start coming on. As he gets down to the end of the street, him and another guy, just dressed in some ranger leathers, a little bit of metal you'll see hit the light just right. Nice big sword at his side and kind of a half cloak with the same kind of grayish material. They're going to come and stop in front of the inn, but head towards what's left of the Mages Guild. The guards at the corner, you can kind of see they traded shifts with the ones that are now inside the tavern. They're going to do a salute, and these two individuals are just going to walk straight into the Mages Guild.
I think I'm going to try to get their attention. Excuse me, sir. Sir?
The old gentleman is going to kind of perk his ears up and turn around as the leather-clad one is going to head in and take a step and stop, and they're both going to turn around. You can kind of see the guys in the gray cloaks are going to kind of have a hand by their side, almost near their weapon, and he's going to turn to you.
Yes, young man?
I'm terribly sorry to interrupt you, but are you perchance the guild master of this guild? This is the Mages Guild, right?
Yes, it was.
You're going to see it's going to have a little bit of a sadness hanging in his throat.
It was indeed. Is there something I can help you with?
I'm looking for somebody, and I was hoping someone around here might be able to help me find him.
After a second, he's going to kind of turn fully towards you, and you can see the gentleman in front of him.
Hurry, Travell. Come inside when you're done.
He's going to head on inside, and you can kind of see the guards are going to go a little lax on their weapons. After a second or two, he's going to take a couple of steps closer to you.
I can't make any promises, but perhaps I can be of some assistance.
I'd really appreciate any help you can offer. I'm looking for my town doctor. I know he had talked about this place before, mentioned it. He's how I knew it was here. So I was hoping that maybe you might know who he is, and I'm going to describe him to him the best I can and ask if he knows anyone like that fits that description.
You kind of see he's going to stroke his long beard.
No other name besides Doc.
That's really all he ever gave us. He helped out a lot, so we didn't ask too many questions.
No one recently, but the description sounds familiar. Are you staying here in town?
Yeah, actually, I'm staying at this inn right here across the street.
Let me check a few things. I'll come by in the next day or so. I might be able to help you.
He's going to hold out his hand.
Travell Arwind.
Jerry Allman.
As you guys go to exchange handshakes, the moment your palms touch, you're going to feel a slight spark. And his grip is going to get tighter.
I thought so. It's a pleasure, Jerry.
You can see this twinkle in his eye a bit.
Pleasure's all mine, sir.
He's going to look at the inn and look at you, back to the inn.
I'll come by in a few days if I hear anything. Check a few things. Have a good evening.
You too, sir.
You're going to see Travell is going to turn back around. His robe is going to sweep the cobblestones a little bit as he turns and goes in. You can see he's going to have his hand on kind of the door jamb, hesitate and turn back towards you a little bit.
Where is it you said you were from?
River Rock Meadows.
Ah.
And not another word, he's going to turn and just head into what's left of the Mages Guild. Is there anything else you'd like to do this evening?
There was some stuff I wanted to do, but I don't know anymore. Now I have a lot to think about, and I might just turn in for the night.
So as you head back inside, you kind of see that not much has changed. A few more new faces have come in. The bar is full. Drinks are everywhere. Kind of see that the halfling and the guards are kind of just drinking, having a good time. A few of them already slumped over a little bit. The clerics look a little bit annoyed, but you're gonna walk down the hall, and William's just gonna nod to you, and you're gonna shut yourself in for the night. The bed is, you're gonna know how cozy this thing is. It probably, even with the noise outside, wouldn't be too long before you pass out. What would be the last few things on your mind?
Probably one of the last things I think about before I go to bed is I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer to finding Doc.
I think that is a good place to end it for this evening.
If this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. Do or Dice is produced weekly for your enjoyment. Show notes, character sheets, and bios can be found at doordicepodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter or Facebook at Do or Dice Podcast. The Do or Dice Podcast is associated with the Nerdsmith Network. Check out some of the other contributors at nerdsmith.org. Do or Dice is a very new podcast. Please give us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you shop for your podcast. Thank you again for your support, and check us out next week. Same dice time, same dice channel.